Hey everyone, this is JoeYoursTruly back with another video, and I did not think I have to make another video so soon, and I would never would guess that the reason I would have to make this video is for today's topic. And I don't know what I'm gonna caption the title of this video. I haven't thought that far ahead. But in short, due to my recent video and some of my recent tweets where I was bringing up a lot of concerns about some game-breaking bugs that was going to infect the integrity of competitive predecessor this weekend for the PCC, I have been kicked out of the predecessor content creator guild without warning. They just kind of I just got DMs, a long DM, which I will talk about, saying why I was kicked out, and that was it. There was no conversation, no trying to figure out what was going on. It's just we saw you were doing this, and yep, we're just gonna kick you out of the guild. And me being kicked out of the guild is the least of my worries, funny enough, about right now. My biggest worries actually have to do with the reason I was kicked out and how it was handled. And I'm gonna go talk all about that in a little bit. But as you can see, we are outside in the beautiful state of Alaska. So I mentioned that in my last video that it's very rare that you get to see all this gorgeous weather out here like this, and somehow it was another beautiful day, even though the forecast said that it was gonna rain all week. The whole weather app for Alaska is so inconsistent, because when I did that hike, for example, that last Sunday, it said that it's gonna be all sunny all day, no rain whatsoever. Halfway through the hike, it just started pouring on us, and I got super cold, super sick, right? And so I figured, well, let's just do another one outside. And I had some people telling me that, hey, Joe, you should probably just do some hikes around Alaska, because that would be probably really cool if you do that when you do outdoor videos. And the problem with that is, one, I don't have that phone camera stick to help make the the phone quality steady as I walk around. And another reason is my freaking fuzzy microphones from Amazon hasn't delivered yet, so my audio quality wouldn't be as good if I walk around constantly. So apologies for that. You're gonna have to just deal with this whole stationary blue sky background by yours truly. But yeah, let's just kind of change gears again, get a little bit more serious about what I meant in the beginning parts of the video. And I guess before I kind of explain, let me kind of explain, I guess, how things started to go downhill with my with how this all happened. And I guess the first time, so here's the funny thing, with all I contribute to predecessor, with all my content, all my feedback I have given, very rarely, if at all, I will ever receive DMs or any conversations initiated by the devs to me, which it's kind of weird, because Omeda has always said they're a very heavy community-driven game, and it's kind of common for a lot of other games that have other content creator programs to actively reach out to content creators, be like, hey, can you cover this update? Or hey, we want to ask you about your opinion on this. No, they didn't really do that for me specifically. I'm not sure if they do it with other content creators, but they never really approached me specifically about anything. Which is kind of okay, it's kind of whatever. But the first time in recent memory where they actually reached out to me directly was due to a tweet I made a while ago, which it was a tweet I made about the store page UI, because there was an update about a month or two ago where they changed the UI of the store, and there was an issue where on something the banner icons or the emotes that it gets stretched out, or some bug was happening to where instead of like a very clear image when you see like the box that holds like the paid item, it becomes all stretched and it becomes super pixelated, really ugly looking. And whenever you have like a paid item that's like looks really bad on the front end UI, that's like a big no-no. And I pointed that out because that was a big red flag, because usually you never see that kind of stuff make it to a live service game, but this is Predecessor we're talking about. So when I saw that, I made me a tweet about it because that was really bad seeing that. That's a really bad look on the game. And I said something along the lines that this looks like pixelated garbage. And I guess that was too harsh of me to say something like that, because I have one of the devs actually reach out to me, and we had to have like a conversation about it. Be like, hey Joey, we like appreciate your feedback, but you also represent the game in a way, and you like saying this looks like pixelated garbage. It's saying that your game is trash in a way. And I'm like, oh, okay, my bad. I'll be more careful how I roll my stuff off. And I always thought that was kind of weird, that the first time I ever was approached directly by Deathverse was because of a criticism I had of the game, which is not like I wasn't attacking anyone specifically. I just said this looked really, really horrible, to the point that I have to like put it out there, because there's no way this is supposed to be able to make it to life in the first place. But I think that's just kind of how it all started. Well, as soon as I started making a lot more my critical feedback public, is where I guess I have a lot more eyes on what I say and do, because if it's not obvious enough to you guys, there's a lot of stuff I have to say about the game, and for the longest time throughout like early access, open beta, all that of Predecessor's lifespan, most of that feedback I have only made internally in the Content Creator Discord. I rarely use Twitter or mention many like critical feedback in my videos, and the only reason why I started to be more public about what I say is due to the fact that a lot of the internal feedback that myself and other content creators been giving out have either not been responded to, or we just don't see any traction going on with that. And like I said, like when you have stuff like the store UI having really pixelated like pay items looking really horrible, like why would you buy that? And when you have like game breaking bugs that's happening, and when you post them internally and you don't get any response, you don't get any update what's going on, of course you're gonna have people like me that's gonna start, okay, well, I'm gonna make them more public, because the more eyes on this, the more chance we can probably get something to change with this, because this is really bad. But I guess as soon as I started doing that as well, things start to take a turn for the worse, I guess, in Omeda Studios, on what they kind of see with their relationship with me. Because as you guys probably saw from my last video, I made one last video that's supposed to be my last video for this year about what's going to happen with my channel content and when I'm going to return, and along with a lot of like the topics and discussions, bugs, a lot of stuff I was really concerned about that I just want to talk about with you guys, because at the end of the day, to make change happen, you have to talk about the stuff people don't want to talk about, and that is the more bad side of Predecessor. And I was hoping that I would just more spark like a conversation. That'll be my last kind of like feedback for devs to see, for you guys to see, so you guys can also kind of talk, discuss, talk to other people about it, and hopefully bring about a change. Because I still really think that a lot of the stuff I talked about in the last video is really important, especially like moderation. Like you need to take that way more seriously, because you have little kids playing your games, and more game breaking bugs happening, especially when you have a hotfix patch that fixed one game breaking bug but created another game breaking bug right before your competitive tournament where people are playing for money on the line. Like like these kind of issues you just cannot just ignore. You have to have people talk about them, and when people talk about them, it's how you can have that change happen in the first place. But needless to say, because of that video I made, and because of those recent tweets I made, those were like in verbatim the reason why I was kicked away from the guild. And before I kind of explain a little bit more about that, I just want to say, above all, that there are lines, like unspoken lines, that should never be crossed, right? And especially in like content creator scene, like when you do like content creation, there's some stuff that it's very like taboo to do, right? Like for example, like I have all this information about to share with you guys and talk about. All of them are in DMs I had with the dev and DMs of other people I've been talking to. But you don't share DMs, right? That's a line you just will not cross. So a lot of the stuff I am going to kind of talk about, I'm going to have to ask you guys to take my word for it, trust in my word, because there are lines I'll just not cross, and sharing DMs is just not something I will never do, no matter how like bad the situation, no matter how malicious the other side is. I would not share DMs like publicly. That is the stuff that should be private and should always remain private between two different parties. The other line that should never be crossed, and this is something that I have to also ask you guys not to do, is to go after and target individuals and devs or anyone and harass them, call them names, say this or that in a very defamatory way. Like that's a line that I especially made sure to never cross throughout my whole career in content creation, is that no matter how frustrated, how mad I am with the game or with some of the decisions that the devs will make, that I'll never cross that line and start harassing them, start calling them names, and start like just being a bad person. Because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We all need a way to put food on our plates. We all have our own passion projects, and we're human. We don't always make the best decisions. We are prone to make mistakes, but it's how we pick up ourselves after those mistakes, how we treat those mistakes and move forward is what's most important. And it's kind of funny that in a way, the lines that I'll never cross or the values that I uphold as a content creator right now, it's kind of like the same values I kind of that's really instilled upon me when I joined the Coast Guard. Because like the 3 core values that you probably will hear from the Coasties is honor, respect, and devotion to duty. Honor, I will always be honest with you guys. I will never try and intentionally mislead you or harm anyone. Respect, I will never go out of my way to harass someone. I will never tell you guys to go after anyone else. Please do not use this video as a means to go target devs. There are ways we can go about this, but going after one another in a malicious way is not one way to do it. And devotion to duty, I'm committed. I love this game. I love this passion project. The only reason why I have made YouTube videos in the first place is because of my love for Paragon. And above anything, I am grateful that Omeda Studios has brought back Paragon and the fallen predecessor to try and make a game that wasn't meant to be back then, and their own vision. That is something I'll always be happy and proud of them for being able to achieve. However, they have crossed a line that should never been crossed, and maybe they actually have crossed this line long ago, and I have now only realized it too late. They have crossed a line that just should not have happened, because as history has been recorded in the past of multiple different games and multiple different projects, as soon as you cross this line, you are only asking for trouble and the downfall of your entire project. And the line that they cross is they kicked me out because I was not a yes man. They kicked me out because of what I was saying, in their words, what I was saying was driving people away rather than bringing more players into the game. That my criticism of the game does little to help the devs that work so hard on this game. Those are the kind of words that were DM'd to me explaining why they decided to kick me out of the Content Creator Guild. And that is an extremely slippery slope to go on, because as soon as you shut down honest feedback about the game, and as soon, so it's not only that, not only they are proactively shutting down feedback, like honest feedback about the game, and encouraging yes men, a kind of a positive toxicity in a way. But as soon as you're now going after and you're kicking out your biggest content creators for bringing in fair criticism of the game, that does not spell a bright future in the long term. I have to say, when I got this DM about me being kicked out of the guild, or rather, that was not the first message I see, because I was in the middle of work, right? And you guys know that I talked about I'm trying to go aviation. I'm about to leave for school to work on to get hands-on training that I need so I can do maintenance, troubleshoot, be an airman on these fixed wings, going out and executing different missions of the Coast Guard. For me to do all that, I have to go to school soon. But while I wait for my departure day, I can still chat with people. I can still do hands-on. And this is one of the rare days where they're doing heavy maintenance on one of the aircraft, and I was being allowed a lot of opportunities to get my hands in and start tinkering, fixing helping fix the aircraft so it's mission ready. And I got that message in the middle of the maintenance, and it kind of flustered me so much because I was just kind of like in shock when I was seeing all these messages, not just from the devs telling me why I was kicked out, but other people telling me that, oh, hey, Joey, I'm really sad to see that you left the guild, but I hope you return soon. Or, hey, Joey, I heard that you seems like you got the men's treatment, huh? And I'm just like so confused. Why are so many people DMing me? And of course, you guys know why. It's because I just got kicked out, and I got really flustered, and people look at me, it's like, Joey, you alright? And I'm like, I don't know, I got kind of dropped with a bombshell. And they were like, okay, go take some time to sort that out. And I was really bummed out because I really wanted to learn stuff today, but I couldn't focus because of this bombshell that was just thrown on me randomly. But yeah, it has troubled me very deeply, if it's not obvious enough to you guys. But yeah, so a lot of content creators reach out to me. I had a lot of good conversation back and forth. I explained them the situation a little bit. It's only when I explain the situation to these different content creators that reach out to me, that's when they were coming back to me and be like, wait a sec, that doesn't sound right. And I'm like, what do you mean? And then I have some people screenshot the announcement that the devs made in the content creator Discord. And what they said in the content creator Discord did not match what was sent to me, because what was said to me is that they would kick me out of the content creator Discord and kicking me out of the guild in general is because I guess I haven't said everything that was said to me, but one of the big things that they were pushing on why I was kicked out was because apparently my recent tweet in my last video, I was harassing, I was talking to devs and dev teams and harassing and belittling them. And and so I was like, wow, okay, like what's going on? Because as I talked to you guys about, there are lines I'll never cross, and one of them is that I will never go out my way to harass anyone specifically. I will never say anything in a way that will hurt another individual. Maybe I get really passionate, I get really frustrated, and yes, when I call something pixelated garbage, maybe that's harsh. But if I'm giving fair criticism of the game, and you're saying that that is direct harassment or belittling of a dev's work, or is a distraction, or it serves nothing to help grow the game, then I'm sorry, but you are disillusional. A game cannot grow without honest feedback. So now, I'm going a little bit over the place because, again, I'm coming in without a script. I'm speaking from the heart. I'm a little bit shaking up a little bit, so I apologize. And my train of thought is kind of going in circles right now. But before I go even further, let me jump back to what I was trying to say about the messages I got to content creators, because I told them that I got kicked out because they were saying that I was harassing or I was saying really bad stuff about devs and their work. And the content creators I talked to, they were really confused because in the announcement that they posted in the content creator Discord, all they said was, I left. Nothing about what I did or what I said, what's going on. It only said that I left. Nothing about them kicking me out. They didn't say anything about that. They just said I left. And that is one of the two major red flags about what I kind of was talking about earlier, was how they were handling the issue. Because if they were upfront with the other content creators and be like, hey, we kick JoeYoursTruly out of the guild because he was talking devs, he was harassing, he was being disrespectful to them. That's why we decided to kick. It's one thing if they were upfront about it. It's a whole total net Pandora's box that's open when you kicked me out because you told me that I was disrespecting, I was harassing, all that. But then when you tell everyone else, you just said that I left. You are being dishonest to all your content creators that have been nothing but supportive of your game since beginning. And if you think that you can try to hide the actual truth behind just one DM between you and me, and that you think that no other content creator was going to catch on to this, you are sorely mistaken. You are sorely mistaken, because I don't know if you devs realize, but us content creators, we talk a lot. We talk a lot outside the content creator guild, and we also hang out a lot. Well, I used to play with Pencil so much back in the day when I had a lot more time, when I was playing with his competitive team, when I wasn't scrimming with his team, we were playing some other random stuff, just hanging out. All the fact that the other day I was playing Peak with Sarkat, with Secret Salsa, with Nigel, with other people. We content creators hang out and talk a lot outside of our channels. And if you think that you can get away with this or try to bury the shoes, you are so disillusioned. Sorry, I'm having a hard time speaking because I'm still trying to recover from my sickness, and it's actually pretty cold outside. I've been actually kind of shaking a little bit. I won't lie, even though I have a nice little jacket, I'm still kind of shaky from the cold. But yeah, it's so as soon as I touch bases with the other content creators, that's just kind of a very what the F kind of moment for myself and with other content creators, because that is a huge no-no to be dishonest with your content creators like that. And I think, and And what's even crazy is how it insinuates other like stuff from that, because if they genuinely believe what they said when they were like DMing me about why they kicked me, they would have been honest to other content creators and told them, right? But the fact that they probably know that the reason why they kicked me is probably not an actual valid reason, or rather people were going to fight them on it. The fact that they just hid all that for the sake of trying to avoid getting into a confrontation like discussion with a content creators, be like, hey, what the heck, he was just providing fair criticism of the game, why you kick him? The fact that they purposely misled the content creators like that is disgusting. Extremely disgusting. Oh my god. That's one of the ones that worried me the most about anything. Like, me being kicked out of the guild sucks, but seeing this side of Omeda Studios purposely misleading your own content creators to try and avoid a confrontation, it shows that they know it's not. It shows they know it's an issue, but they're trying to avoid confronting that issue, and they think that by just not talking about that, it will just go away. It will just go away, people forget about it, move on. But the whole point of this video that I'm trying to make with you guys is this is a thing that I do not want the community to forget. Sorry, there's a car right there, because I'm still out in public, right? So there's some people that will come out here sometimes and probably fish. I think she's trying to fish right there. But yeah, sorry for the distraction right there. But so that was one thing. There was a total lack of dishonesty with how the devs communicated with the other content creators about the whole situation. The other thing is kind of circling back to what I always said, and is that my recent criticism of the company is seen as harassment, is seen as not helpful, is seen as driving players away from the game, and that's why they don't want me to be part of the guild and want to sever the relationship. That's another huge issue, because I have noticed this for quite a while in the content creator guild, how devs approach different feedback, and I'm gonna be very upfront about it. They like yes men. They like when people give nothing but positive feedback, and they're not subtle about it. They love when people praise their game. They love when, like, oh my god, we love what you did with this hero. We love the balance up the user. They love that. They eat that up so hard. But when someone brings in fair criticism of the game in that guild, either it just gets ignored, or they just get told outright they're wrong, just straight up. And that's kind of like, that's why I made most of my feedback more public, is because I realized that my feedback wasn't doing anything in the content creator Discord. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna at least share that feedback with you guys and be honest with you guys about what I'm thinking and what could be improved about the game, because I'm probably gonna see more change through that way than trying to share internally in a internal content creator Discord. But the fact that the devs see fair criticism of the game as targeted harassment or belittling of the devs or driving like players away as a reason to kick a content creator out of the program is outrageous. You cannot grow a game through yes men, through positivity 24/7. When there is light, there also must be shadow, right? They just always exist with each other. And I know that is a really cliche kind of like saying or metaphor or whatever, but let me take that a step further and bring in something that is a little bit more lighthearted. Example, for everyone that has played Super Smash Bros, like the game, they're like, let me just say first off, the story in Super Smash Bros. Brawl on the Wii, top tier, S tier. I love the story in that game. The story they did with Ultimate was non-existent. It was just stages after stages. There wasn't any actual coherent storytelling in that game. But in that game, there were like 3 different endings you can get to the game. Spoiler alert, by the way, but the game's been out for a while. Plus, the story's non-existent, so you probably don't care anyways. But in that game, there's 3 different endings because there was like pretty much a kind of like 2 godlike beings fighting each other. One darkness, one light. Is one way to describe them. And each ending is it decided on which one you decide to defeat. It defeat the light god or the shadow god, envelops the whole world in darkness, and everyone dies. And that's one ending. The other ending is if you kill the darkness, and then now only light remains in the world, and everyone also becomes dead in a sense. So the true ending is when you decide to kill both gods at the same time, so that way there is not too much darkness and there's not too much light in the world. There's always have to be a fair balance between the two, because if you go on one extreme or the other, you're only asking for trouble. And so in a sense, for Predecessor, that's the issue that I'm having right now, is that there's too much light, or rather, their perspective on the game is that all they want is positive feedback. They don't want any of that darkness. They don't want any of that criticism or fair feedback of the game. No, they want to squash out every single smudge and darkness in the game, and they only want the public, like the positive, the good feedback, the praises, all that stuff to be online. You cannot, this is common sense. I'm sorry, this is common sense, but you cannot grow a game if you only have yes men that follow around, parade around you. You cannot grow a game if you never get honest feedback and critical feedback of your game. Now, what's important is how that is approached, right? Going back to what I said is, yes, I have made a lot of critical feedback of the company and of like some stuff they've been doing, but I never crossed that line of being disingenuous, being disrespectful, for harassing, for telling my viewers, hey, I don't like this, go harass these devs. I never said that. And yet, despite all of that, they said otherwise. They said that what I was doing was hurting the game in the long run. And yes, when content creators bring up fair criticism of the game, there will be people that see that, they'll be like, ooh, a game-breaking bug, well, the bug disappears and you can't even hit it? Oh my god, that is really bad. Oh hey, I'm trying to do objective, but I get pushed back and the health bar entirely resets? Oh, I don't know the competitive integrity of the game is going to be good, right? Like, you cannot grow your game, you cannot make your game successful in the long run if you try to bury your head in the sand whenever you have critical feedback, fair criticism of the game sent to you, but then only listen to all the positive feedback. Like, hey guys, look at the numbers, look at everyone saying good things, the game is all good. It means that all this other critical feedback doesn't mean anything. And by the way, that kind of line of reasoning is why they shut down all my conversation I was trying to have with them with that video I had back in April, when I first talked about when I was saying I was worried about the future of Predecessor. The reason why they weren't engaged with me in that conversation was because, oh, the numbers said we're actually doing good, Joe, so everything you said is kind of invalid or it's not found. They're not even trying to engage in meaningful dialogue. They just hide behind numbers, and then they're like fail, like anything they can use to throw at me to engage in actual genuine conversation. Sorry, I got a little bit heated right there. That's the kind of thing that if I got in trouble for saying stuff like that, I'll be like, okay, that's fair. I got heated right there. But you kick me out of you kick me out of the guild, I have nothing else to lose, right? So, but despite that, I will still not cross that line. I will never steal to this day about how my philosophy of how I treat others with honor, respect, devotion to duty. I just will not cross that line, and I will continue to show what respect I have for you guys, even though it has greatly diminished since the recent news. But yeah, that's kind of like the whole gist of like this whole like why I'm making this video is I just got the news again. Just kind of recap everything. I just been told in DMs that I was being kicked out of the content creator Discord. My relationship with the ministers is going to be no more because they see my fair criticism as targeted harassment, and they see it as not helping the game grow, so they see no reason to work with me. And they say that, but then they hide that fact when they tell other content creators that I left on my own accord, and they think they can get away with all this without any retaliation. I think they're going to be sorely mistaken because, as I mentioned before, I've been with this community since pretty much Paragon. This whole community that's around Predecessor is the same community we love Paragon back then. I've been around for quite a while, and let me just say that when something like this were to happen, don't expect your community to go quiet in the night. Sorry, another cliche saying, but it kind of felt right in the moment. I just want to say, like, you see this kind of scenario play out in so many other games and companies over and over and over and over again, and these devs think it's gonna be different if they try to do something different, if they do it, and I just don't understand. I just don't really understand. But I guess before I end off this video, there's some other stuff I just want to say before I head off. But to all the content creators that have reached out to me, I just want to say thank you so much, because it really meant a lot to me. I won't name names. I can't, because I'm afraid that if I drop some names, then they're gonna be on the watch list of Omeda Studios, and I don't want them to get targeted by them, and I want their career to still grow, right? But if you know, you know, and I just want to say thank you for reaching out, checking up on me, because it really meant a lot, especially when I was getting a lot of stress in the moment, and I'm like, did I actually went out and harass Dev? Did I actually step out of line? But when I check in with all you guys and explain the situation, and you told me that no, dude, you're on the right. Don't miss dudes. I don't know what they're doing. When you guys reassured me, I felt extreme relief in that moment. So I just want to say thank you so much for reaching out to me, and for you, and for all the other rest of the content creators. I advise you guys is to, one, tread lightly, because it seems like when you say critical stuff on streams, they don't really go after you. But as soon as you start posting videos or make tweets, anything that will actually stay on the platform for eyes to see, be careful what you say, because that's when you're going to get eyes on you, and that's when you're going to probably want the same show as I am. So be careful what you say. But I also have to ask you guys to not let this topic die down, because you, as content creator, this is a huge concern. This is Omeda Studios shutting down the conversation, honest conversation, the content creators could be having with the devs, and what the community could having with the devs as well. Do not let this conversation die down. Go out there, spread awareness of this. The game will not last long term if you're gonna have devs that will try to sever relationships with people that try to be honest with the game in a respectful manner. Do not let this topic die down anytime soon. Talk about it, talk to your viewers, have discussions on what's the best path forward going through all this. To all my viewers or other people that watch visiting my channel, again, do not go after devs. Do not try to target harass or say really mean, hurtful things. Be critical in your feedback, but be fair and respectful. Because at the end of the day, again, we're all human beings. We should treat every other human being with the respect and love they all deserve. And trying to target people, say really bad stuff, that should not be said, especially over a video game. Please don't go out there and say really horrible stuff. Be respectful, but talk about this issue and talk about how and your concerns about the game. And lastly, to the team, to the team or to whoever dev from Studios is actually still watching my videos and watching this feed in particular, just know that again, I will always be forever grateful. Everyone will always be forever grateful to you guys for bringing back Paragon from the ashes of when it was shut down by Epic Games and bringing back in the vision of the light of Predecessor. But the way you guys are going about this is just the wrong way. Like, I get it. There are people that work really hard on some of these features, and not everything can be perfect at the end of the day. But that does not mean that you cannot expect fair criticism of the game to go towards your way. And when you do get those fair criticism towards your way, that has nothing to do with people being mean to you, with people trying to like say bad stuff about your game. That is coming from people who genuinely care about the game. The people that parade around you, that says they love your game, they love your work, they love this, they love that, they love everything, those people are not being genuine. They're being blinded by the love of the game and they cannot see what the game can still improve upon. Because trust me, your game can still be so much better. And it's why there's so many people frustrated with the project overall, because we expect so much more from a full release of a game, and yet the game in a lot of areas feels like it's still an early access game. We want nothing more than your game to be S tier, like as awesome, amazing as it could be, but that cannot happen if we do not. That cannot happen if we're being dishonest. If we're not being honest about our feelings about the game, our honesty about the issues we have with the game. Like, change cannot happen unless there is a reason for change, is one way to put it. And I really do hope that your guys' efforts in making Predecessor will bring I'm sorry, it's getting hard for me right now still, but I really hope that your game will be successful in the long run. You guys will find great success. You'll have so many people, so many content creators talk about your game. It'll spread far and wide across the globe. I generally hope your guys' game will grow to be that one day, but I'm sorry, I just cannot see that happening with how you recently are handling your game and how you have crossed the line of shutting down fair criticism of the game just because someone disagreed with you. I'm sorry, but you are only asking for you're only asking for your game to EOS by going down this route, and I hope that you guys strongly consider getting off that route as fast as possible. But that's gonna be for me, you guys. Well, as always, comment down below, tell me guys what you think, and especially since I have to like really give this more thought if I'm gonna return to this game, because I still love the Paragon project. Do I love the dev team? Probably not as much anymore after today, but I still want this game to succeed, and I know a lot of you guys still love Predecessor despite its flaws. But I have to give it some serious thought if I'm going to return to Predecessor next year when I'm done with my training with the Coast Guard, or I have to pursue another project, another game to follow and support. But more on that later. That's something I'm definitely going to have to honest conversation with you guys and figure out, because again, this channel wouldn't be a thing without you guys' amazing support and dedication. So wherever you guys think we should go, I will follow, right? Because I have grown to be I'll always be incredibly grateful to you guys, and want nothing more to do what's best and do what you guys think would be best for this community. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me for now. I hope to see you guys in a more upbeat video next time. Peace.